The Harrington estate in Savannah, Georgia, shimmered under the golden lights of the engagement celebration. Laughter echoed across the marble-floored ballroom. Waiters weaved through guests, balancing trays of champagne, and a jazz band played softly in the background. Emma Harrison felt like she was floating. Surrounded by love, success, and the man of her dreams, Noah Bennett, she could hardly believe this was her life. Noah, a rising star in corporate law, had proposed 2 months earlier in Central Park, under cherry blossoms and applause from tourists. Tonight was the official celebration. Their wedding was set for next spring, fully planned and budgeted, $80,000 set aside, every cent earned and saved by Emma herself. Then everything collapsed. Her parents arrived late, intentionally she suspected. Her mother, Vivian, walked in like a storm. Dressed in severe navy, lips tight, eyes scanning the room like a general ready for war. Her father, Raymond, followed silently, as he always did. Vivian didn't bother with hellos. "Emma!" she barked across the crowd, silencing the room. "Give your sister the wedding fund, all $80,000. She needs it more than you do. If you have a heart, you'll do it now." Gasps rippled through the guests. Emma's stomach sank. Her younger sister, Layla, had recently announced an unexpected pregnancy. The father had vanished, and Vivian had spent weeks guilt-tripping Emma to sacrifice her wedding savings. "I told you already," Emma said calmly, though her voice trembled. "No. This is my wedding. I won't be punished for Layla's mistakes." Vivian's eyes narrowed. "Then your engagement is off. You think that boy's family will want you after they see how selfish you are?" Emma stood tall. "Try me." Then came the slap. So hard, it twisted her head. The room blurred. She stumbled and hit the side of the gift table. Glass shattered behind her. The room froze in silence, but Vivian was panting, eyes wild, victorious, as if she just delivered divine justice. Emma straightened slowly, touched her burning cheek, and looked her mother dead in the eye. "You're about to get a surprise you'll never forget," she said through gritted teeth. The ballroom doors swung open. In walked David Bennett, Noah's father. Powerful. Tall. Eyes like steel. Former Navy, now CEO of a Fortune 500 defense contractor. A man who rarely attended parties, but when he entered a room, silence followed. Vivian froze. Her wine glass slipped and shattered at her feet. David's gaze swept the room and stopped on her. "Vivian," he said coldly. "It's been a long time." Emma blinked. What? What was this tension? She glanced at her mother. Her face had turned ghostly white. Noah rushed to Emma, but she couldn't take her eyes off her mother, or David Bennett. Something had just shifted. And it wasn't just the engagement. It was everything. The ballroom that just moments ago had been alive with clinking glasses and laughter now hung in frozen tension. All eyes were on David Bennett, standing in the doorway like a thundercloud. Emma barely registered the soothing whispers of Noah at her side. Her focus was locked on her mother, who looked as if she had seen a ghost. David's voice cut through the silence. "Vivian. Still creating scenes, I see." Vivian didn't respond. Her lips quivered, but no words came out. Her hand shook as she bent down to pick up the pieces of her shattered wine glass, but she couldn't quite steady herself. Raymond, Emma's father, moved to help her, but she waved him off like he wasn't even there. David took a step into the room, and it was as if the air shifted. People parted instinctively, clearing his path toward Emma. "I heard there was trouble at the party," he said. "Didn't think it'd involve my future daughter-in-law being assaulted in public." Emma opened her mouth to reply but hesitated. Something in his tone wasn't just protective, it was personal. Too personal. Vivian finally found her voice. "You don't belong here, David." "I belong exactly where my son needs me," he answered. "And tonight he needed someone to stop this circus before it destroyed the one good thing in his life." Noah stepped forward. "Dad, what's going on?" David glanced at Noah, then at Emma. "You deserve answers. Both of you." He turned back to Vivian. "Should I tell them, or would you prefer to?" Emma's pulse thundered in her ears. Tell us what? Vivian's voice came out hoarse, almost pleading. David, please. Don't do this. Not here. No? Then when? You were more than willing to humiliate your daughter in front of strangers. Why shouldn't they know who you really are? Raymond, finally snapping out of his daze, stepped up. I don't know what game you're playing. It's not a game, Raymond, David said sharply. It's truth. Something your wife has avoided for over 25 years. Emma took a step forward. What is he talking about? Vivian stared at the floor, jaw clenched. She didn't answer. David sighed. He reached into his inner jacket pocket and pulled out a worn photograph. He held it out to Emma. With trembling fingers, she took it. In the photo, a young woman, undeniably her mother, stood beside a man in a navy uniform. He was tall, confident, smiling at the camera. A younger David Bennett. The woman in the photo had the same defiant glare Vivian wore now, but her eyes were softer then. Hopeful. Emma's breath caught. She turned the photo over. Written in faded ink. Vivian and David, Charleston, 1998. Emma looked up. Is this real? Vivian slowly nodded. I told you he was just a friend, she said quietly. I never wanted you to know the truth. It was complicated. What truth? Emma demanded. David answered for her. I loved your mother. We had a relationship. She left me when she found out she was pregnant, told me it wasn't mine, then disappeared. Emma stared at her mother in disbelief. You told me Dad was my only father. You swore. He raised you. Vivian snapped. That's what matters. Emma stepped back. Her head spun. So you've known? All this time? David nodded solemnly. I suspected. I tried to reach out years ago. Your mother blocked every letter, every call. I didn't even know if you were alive until Noah brought you home. Noah's mouth dropped. Wait, you knew she was Emma? I recognized her face the moment I saw her, David said. She has her mother's fire, and something of mine in her eyes. Emma backed away from them all. The room felt like it was closing in. I need air, she whispered, and turned toward the terrace doors. But as she reached for the handle, Vivian's voice called out behind her, not demanding, not angry, but afraid. Emma, don't walk away. Please! Emma turned slowly, her face pale, her eyes brimming. You slapped me because I wouldn't give up my future. But you stole mine before I was even born. Vivian had no reply. Emma opened the door and stepped into the cool night air, her heart racing. Behind her, the perfect engagement party had crumbled. And ahead of her, everything she thought she knew about her life was unraveling, piece by piece. The night air was thick with the scent of magnolias as Emma gripped the stone railing of the terrace. Her breath came in shallow gasps, her chest tight with a storm of emotions she couldn't name. Behind her, the ballroom buzzed with confused murmurs. She could almost hear the whispers spreading like wildfire. David Bennett is her real father. Vivian lied. For decades. The bride-to-be just walked out. Her hands trembled. She tried to make sense of it. Her entire life had been built on the idea that Raymond Harrison, quiet and steady, was her father. He had taught her to ride a bike, walked her to school, called her Pumpkin every night before bed. And now she was supposed to accept that it had all been a lie? The glass door creaked behind her. Emma didn't turn around. You shouldn't be out here alone, David said gently. She stayed silent. I didn't mean for this to come out this way, he added. Emma turned, finally, and looked at him. You've known for weeks. Why didn't you say anything sooner? I didn't want to take anything from you, he said. I wasn't sure how much your mother told you. Or if you even wanted to know me. Emma crossed her arms. She told me nothing. You dropped a bomb in there and walked away like it was some kind of speech. David flinched. I didn't plan this, Emma. I came tonight because I heard your engagement party had become tense. I didn't expect her to hit you. Emma's voice cracked. She's been trying to take everything from me. My money. My wedding. My dignity. And now I find out she took you too? David stepped closer. I'm not here to replace Raymond. I'm just here. If you want me to be. Emma looked at him for a long moment. His face was older, sharper, but the resemblance was undeniable. The same shape of their eyes. The stubborn tilt of their chin. The DNA she never questioned until now. Before she could respond, the door opened again. It was Noah. Hey, he said softly, eyes darting between them. You okay? Emma nodded, though her eyes were wet. I just need answers, she said. And time. Noah looked at David. Is it true? About you and her mom? David nodded. We were young. Stupid. She left without a word. I didn't even know she was pregnant until a mutual friend mentioned it, and by then, she'd vanished. Emma's voice was low. Why didn't you fight harder? David's expression darkened. I was just finishing my Navy commission. When I tried to reach out, your mother blocked me at every turn. I still have the letters, unopened, returned. I even came to Savannah once, but by then she was already married to Raymond. Noah stepped beside Emma, his hand finding hers. What now? Emma swallowed hard. I don't know. But I'm not pretending anymore. She turned back to David. I want to know everything. But not tonight. Not like this. David nodded. Whenever you're ready. They stood in silence for a moment before David gently excused himself and returned inside. Emma leaned into Noah. I feel like my whole childhood just cracked open, she whispered. I'm here, he said, for whatever comes next. And as they stood beneath the stars, wrapped in each other's arms, Emma realized something. The truth may have shattered her old life, but it might also be the only way to build a real future. 3 weeks passed. Emma hadn't spoken to her mother since the engagement party. The slap, the lie, the years of manipulation, they hung between them like fog that refused to lift. Vivian had tried calling, texting, even showing up at her apartment once. Emma didn't answer the door. In contrast, David had kept his distance, respectfully. One letter. No pressure. Just an offer to meet when she was ready. She met him for lunch the following week. They talked for hours. He brought old photos, navy patches, even a crumpled note Vivian had once written him, a goodbye letter, never sent. It was the first time Emma saw her mother as something other than cold and calculating. But it didn't excuse everything. Not the secrecy. Not the violence. Now, standing at the back of St. Augustine's Chapel on a crisp Saturday morning, Emma adjusted the lace on her wedding dress and glanced at herself in the mirror. She had chosen to move forward, not blindly, but with eyes wide open. She and Noah had decided not to postpone the wedding. The chaos, the truth, all of it had only made them stronger. But the guest list was shorter now. Vivian wasn't invited. Raymond was, and he came. Quiet, as always. Respectful. Emma hugged him in the hallway before the ceremony, and he whispered, No matter what, you'll always be my daughter. It meant more than she could say. Then David arrived. Dressed in a tailored navy blue suit, he stood by the doors like a guardian. Emma approached him slowly. I don't want a big scene, she said, soft but firm. No scene, he promised. Just one request. What is it? He reached into his coat and pulled out a legal envelope. What's this? She asked. My will, he replied. I updated it. Half of my estate, my home, my savings, and all my shares in Bennett Defense, they're yours now. The rest goes to Noah. Emma's heart skipped. Why? Because I should have been there from the beginning. And while I can't undo the past, I can do this. For you. For both of you. Tears welled in her eyes, but she blinked them back. I still don't know what our relationship will be, she whispered. But thank you. He nodded. You've got your mother's fire. But you've also got something she never had, integrity. The ceremony was intimate, elegant, perfect. Noah's vows made her cry. Emma's made him laugh, and then cry too. They kissed to applause, and the chapel bells rang out across Savannah. But just before the reception, a black car pulled up at the curb. Vivian. Emma's stomach dropped as her mother stepped out in a dark dress, sunglasses hiding her expression. She didn't move toward the entrance. She simply stood outside, alone, watching through the glass as her daughter danced with her new husband. Emma watched her from across the room. And then she turned away. Toward Noah. Toward the music. Toward her real life. Vivian had chosen secrecy, control, and shame. Emma had chosen truth, forgiveness, and herself. And as the night unfolded, full of joy, light, and the people who showed up, not because they had to, but because they wanted to, Emma knew. This was the life she built. Not the one she was given. The one she claimed.